It never should have taken this long, but after a year of waiting, I finally used USB 4 ports on a laptop that doesn't carry an Apple or Intel logo. Let me tell you, it's simply glorious.
This video is sponsored by SK Hynix, the maker of fastest-in-class SSDs. The new Platinum P41 PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD exhibits technical excellence driven by unmatched speeds and reliability. The Platinum series represents the company's flagship retail lineup geared towards gamers and content creators looking to turbo boost PC performance. Check out the link in the description in order to grab the Platinum P41 today and give your PC a huge upgrade.
Yeah, you're probably scratching your head wondering why I'm so legitimately giddy to use USB 4, but it's the final piece of the puzzle that should give all laptops equal footing and access to super fast external drives, docks, monitors, and external GPU cabinets. USB 4, if you don't know, was introduced in 2019 and essentially adopts Intel's Thunderbolt 3 functionality that Intel released to the world. Up until now, most non-Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports have been limited to a maximum of 10 gigabits. Although USB 3.2 can hit 20 gigabits per second, few to none laptops have ever adopted that version. USB 4 increases the maximum throughput of the port to 40 gigabits for all device traffic, and more importantly, brings the ability to tunnel PCIe through it. In practical terms, that means the ability to use an external GPU on a tiny laptop to increase graphics performance, or the ability to use a much faster external SSD. And yes, AMD and laptop vendors have been saying for months on end that USB 4 would soon arrive, but it's been so overdue, many had given up hope. Against all odds, I now finally have one in my hands. This is the new Asus Zenbook S13 OLED. It features AMD's Ryzen 7 6800G unit that we've previously covered on the channel and teased USB 4 testing with. Besides offering better performance than the previous Ryzen 5000 series, the new chip officially integrates USB 4 support. Out of the box, the Zenbook I Tested USB with wasn't quite ready, but using an AMD supplied beta BIOS, I was able to conduct testing of the port. For my testing, I did two things. I installed the beta BIOS on the Zenbook, and then I gathered up as many USB-C based devices as I could. For USB 3.2 and lower, I unsurprisingly had no issues since USB 4 is compatible with USB 3.2 and USB 2.0. I was actually more interested in higher performance, so the first fast drive I tried was the SanDisk G Drive Pro Thunderbolt 3 drive. In the past, it's only worked for me on Thunderbolt 3 laptops. Plugging the G drive into the Zenbook gave an audible signal, but nothing else. In fact, no other Thunderbolt device worked either. Such a letdown. After the feedback, AMD supplied another updated beta BIOS, which I was told would work. After installing that BIOS and booting into Windows 11, the SanDisk G Drive Pro works. And I saw performance levels I've only seen on Intel-based Thunderbolt laptops. Sequential read performance of the G drive was about 2.8 gigs a second. That's about what I've seen from the drive on Thunderbolt 3 and Thunderbolt 4 based laptops. So how much faster is it? That's about triple the performance I've seen from multiple M.2 USB 3.2 enclosures using USB 3.2 10 gigs over USB-C. The G drive also appears to function and work exactly as how you'd expect it to. Windows 11 shows it as a PCIe based drive, which means you should dismount it from Windows before unplugging it suddenly. But the SanDisk drive wasn't the only Thunderbolt drive I tested. I also used an Amazon purchased USB 4 M.2 enclosure made by Asus. The enclosure claims USB 4, but it really isn't. Like other early USB 4 devices I've tried, it's built using an older Thunderbolt 3 Intel controller with a bridge chip to USB 3.2 10 gig chip. Yes, plugging it into a USB 4 port with Thunderbolt 3 means it will in fact run at the higher speeds, but it's not a USB 4 device in the letter of the law. Nonetheless, it does function fine in Thunderbolt 3 mode, and you can see proof of that with a Samsung 970 Pro SSD inside of the enclosure. The only piece of hardware that didn't work was a Sonatec Solo 1G 10GB E Thunderbolt 3 adapter. If you're thinking it's some weird Ethernet device issue, it doesn't appear to be. I know that because I also use an OWC Thunderbolt dock in Thunderbolt mode, with its gigabit Ethernet support working just fine. Besides the ability to have high-performance drives work on non-Intel and non-Apple laptops, the most exciting capability USB 4 will enable on AMD laptops is the ability to use an external GPU enclosure. To test that, I grabbed an Asus XG Station Pro Thunderbolt 3 cabinet, installed an older GeForce GTX 1070 Ti, and plugged it in. The eGPU cabinet showed up in Windows and installed drivers from Windows Update. Obviously, one reason to use an eGPU on a slim laptop is for the gaming performance increase. So I ran a quick test just to see what's possible. So I decided to use the synthetic 3D Mark time spot test, which is nearly a pure graphics focused test. As impressive as RDNA 2 is, it's still not on equal footing with a discrete GPU. And we can see the 5-year-old GeForce GTX 1070 Ti about 174% faster than it. Not everyone uses an external GPU for gaming, so I also ran Puget Systems Puget Premier Pro benchmark on the laptop. And we can see performance is about 46% better with the external GeForce. Remember though, this isn't about how much better even an older GPU is over the best IGP today. It's about the fact that you can finally get an eGPU on an AMD laptop without using proprietary systems that are locked to a single laptop design. That's been a luxury only Intel laptops with Thunderbolt have been able to enjoy, now opened up to AMD laptops with USB 4. All the testing and results so far have been from pairing the Zenbook's USB 4 ports with older Thunderbolt 3 hardware. The future is really about USB 4 ports with native USB 4 hardware, which isn't easy today. In months of looking, I've only found one real USB 4 Thunderbolt 4 device, OWC's Mini Stack STX. It's a compact and stackable storage hub made to fit under a Mac Mini and can take an M.2 drive as well as a full-size SATA hard drive. It has enough power to charge the laptop as well as power all of the devices plugged into it. When I say real, I mean it uses Intel's latest JHL8440 Goshen Ridge controller, which is so rare today, I took apart the mini stack just to confirm it with my own eyeballs. It's worth reiterating that a laptop with the USB 4 port can be Thunderbolt compatible even though it isn't Thunderbolt certified. Thunderbolt Certified has long been Intel's stringent and slow program of certifying monitors, docks, drives, and computers to properly implement Thunderbolt. The upshot is USB 4 hardware with Thunderbolt compatibility can work just fine with older Thunderbolt 3 hardware, but doesn't have to be officially certified. At least that's what I know right now. Who knows what the future will bring? So what does this mean for your USB 4 laptop? I think the upshot is Thunderbolt will work on it. That's because Microsoft has decided all Windows 11 laptops with a USB 4 port must support advanced PCIe tunneling, even though that's actually optional. But because Microsoft is going to tell everybody to do it to get a Windows 11 sticker, they're all going to basically probably add Thunderbolt 3 to every USB 4 laptop. So that means on any Windows 11 laptop with a USB 4 port, it's only going to be USB 4 with all the advanced functions, and it cannot be a USB 3.2 Type-C called a USB 4 port. Viewed from Intel and Apple land, the ability to run USB 4 on a laptop can only be seen as one big gaping yawn. After all, Apple fans can chirp that they've had USB 4 since the first MacBook M1 was introduced in November 2020. And Intel predates Apple's release by 2 months with its original Thunderbolt 4-based Tiger Lake laptop CPUs. But all that salt should be taken as seriously as NBA fans crying on Twitter, because the significance of AMD laptops with USB 4 isn't about who is first, it's about USB 4 arriving on yet another platform. With Apple, Intel, and now AMD shipping USB 4/Thunderbolt Thunderbolt 4 capable laptop chips, the fantasy of one cable and one port to rule them all is finally really alive. There will still be many challenges along the way, as we'll have to see how laptop makers roll out USB 4 and market it. But to be able to finally sit here and plug a USB 4 device into an AMD laptop gives me hope it may all finally come true.